Welcome to your Daily Revolution podcast. Today's topic. Here's the real problem with kids today. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. My name is Setema, Gali, the founder and creator of the Prosperity Revolution, a global movement that helps you to get out of scarcity and into prosperity every single day. A movement where people have value, things do not, where money is a result of helping people, where you're rewarded for creating value for others, and where prosperity is not the result of luck, but a predictable steps and formulas, and where happiness is the ultimate goal. Oh my goodness, welcome to the podcast. I just finished an awesome workout in the gym. Good 90 minutes of just getting after it. And getting ready to have immersion, right? Day one of the Titan immersion begins today. And we're going to change the lives of men and their entire families and even their posterity. It's amazing what we do here inside of Titan immersion and Shield Maiden immersion. Grateful for you listening to the podcast. Let's jump into this, right? A lot of people today say things like, man, kids today are fill in the blank. Now, this is not all people, but a lot of people today, they always talk about how soft kids are. And like kids today are soft and they're so weak and they're so coddled. Well, I got some good news and I got some very bad news for you. The good news is kids can change, right? They have an entire future ahead of them and they can be transformed and they can reprogram and you can really impact your child's world, but who you are as a parent and how you show up. The bad news is, if your kids are soft, if your child is soft and you feel like you've coddled them and you feel like they're just not mentally strong, I got some really heart-cutting, soul news for you. Go look in the mirror. Yeah, go look in the mirror, my friend. If you are the parent, right, and whether you're a single parent or you've got an amazing spouse or you're you are so heavily responsible for how your child is. Now, true, a child is going to make his and her decisions, and they're going to get influences at school, and they're going to see movies, and whether or not you give them access to a smartphone. I got news for you. You have so much responsibility for your child. They're learning from you. They are learning from your example. They are watching you. So if you want to know what kind of parent you're being, just go take a look at your child. Now, this isn't all on you, but so much of it is. Well, I look at my sons right now. I got a 15-year-old, 12-year-old, and a 9-year-old, and they're amazing. They're brilliant. Yeah, they're kids. They make mistakes, but we all do. I make mistakes. I fall short. I'm not perfect. And I'm clear that my boys, because my wife and I, we have these deep conversations. Look, we're very clear about what we want from them and what we want out of our family. And so I want to give you a podcast today that shows with you how I work with my kids. Now, look, this really works for us and it's a work in progress, but I'm clear because I remember growing up. I remember seeing my parents get divorced. My parents were amazing. I love my mom and dad so much. My folks divorced. I got 2 sets now, and they're amazing. And they did the very best they could, and I'm forever grateful. And it showed me and gave me an opportunity in my world to know, okay, here's what I'm going to want when I get older, and here's how I want things to be in my family. And let me share them with you. So number 1, clarity is power. This is principle 4 in the 13 principles. Clarity is power. I'm very clear on what I want our family to look like, to feel like, to be like, and the experience in our home if it were to be described by my sons. I'm clear on that. And it looks like this. I want my sons to talk to us about anything. There's no taboo. We can talk about God. We can talk about faith. We can talk about money, sex, and pornography and the things they're going to face as young men. Talk about making money and providing. We can talk about feelings they have for a girl and the challenges that they're going through. We can talk about sports and their dreams. We can say pretty much any word and have any conversation. There's nothing that's off limits in my home. Nothing. Now, the boys are still getting used to that concept because I know sometimes they don't want to talk to us about things. And I just have some real conversations like this. Look, you got to have real conversations. I'm clear that I want them to know they can trust us. I'm clear that I want them to feel safe and not judged in our home. And I've had to make some real course corrections because, again, as parents, if you're listening to this, there's no real manual. I mean, there's lots of books, but the greatest learning of being a parent is when you are parenting. So that's the first step. Clarity is power. How clear are you about what you want? I've thought about this in the future, and I keep planting seeds with my sons. Hey, when you marry the woman of your dreams and your best friend and the love of your life, when you get married, when you're in college, and if college is for you, maybe it's not for you, we have these conversations. I was talking about, like, bring your kids. I'm going to spoil your kids. And this is what we do. We do family reunions, and family is important. Not everything, because you're going to build your life and build your family, but you got to lean on us. And we have these real conversations. That's the first thing is clarity is power. Get clear, write it down. I had a good friend of mine, an incredible man, asked me, I was speaking in Dallas on this last week, and he asked a question about, he's got these twins, and he's like, what kind of advice would you give me? And that was my words to him. Get clear, and then do the actions that will bring you the desired results, that you really want. So if you haven't written down what you want and how you want that to look like, then you got to write it down, because if you don't, then what you're going to do is repeat a lot of the trauma and a lot of the parenting that you came up in. And I'm not saying it's wrong or right. Just know that our parents did the best that they could. So if you're going to break chains and break cycles and course correct it, you got to go rewrite the program, rewrite the mindset, and get really, really clear. First thing, right? Second one, like, have some real agreements or rules in place. And it's not just rules that are one way. You got to go talk about these things. We have certain rules in our home, and again, for us, no electronics in rooms. Again, I know how much garbage can come through a cell phone, a tablet, a computer, a laptop. I just at the click of a button, and I got boys. They're curious. They're going to want to go see things, and I get that. So we have real conversations around that, and we have rules, we have agreements. There's one of the things they got to do is they got chores. Every day they got to do their chores, right? Table, dishes, laundry, cleaning, trash. Saturdays is our day we clean we clean the cars. It's crazy in Southern California. I never cleaned my car. A guy would come to our house, clean me and my wife's car, and it was good. We moved here to Florida. I was like, man, I think it's time for my boys I want them to wash cars. So almost every Saturday, we're washing the cars. They know how to vacuum and do the windows and the tires and the dash. And I want them working, and I want them doing things that allow them to experience life. So what are the rules that you have in your home that provide safety? One of the rules is, hey, never, ever, ever go into a girl's bedroom at their house. Even if it's our family, you don't belong in a girl's bedroom. And I'm like, why? And I just tell them straight up, well, first of all, it's just not your room. But bedrooms are for sleeping and for other things. And you're not at that age, buddy. So just trust us on this. Again, as you get older, you're going to see why, but just trust us on this. And again, as they get older, we'll talk about consistently, right? So have rules, have agreements in place. Third is have real family time. Like, when we sit down at dinner, phones go off. If we're at a restaurant, send out any last messages. We put phones away. When we play a lot of games, we play games, conversations, talking, singing songs. Sometimes they're like, Dad, can I cue music? I'm like, nah, let's just sing. And we're harmonizing and we're singing and we're talking, and there's drives for like an hour. We're just singing and harmonizing, and someone's beatboxing, and we're just having a good time. Family time is important. Not every day is going to be dominated by family time, right? My oldest has a job now. We've got 2 different sports, but on the 2 younger ones, 2 different tournaments on weekends. We got to split up, and it's such a game changer that this is just how we do it, because we are clear about what we are building within our family. And then, I know there's a lot of things I'm sharing here, but the last thing I want to share on this is tell your kids you love them. Build them up with your language consistently. It ought to be like a 5-to-1, 10-to-1. I don't know the scientific ratio, but it better be way more uplifting, encouragement, compliments, way more of that than strict correction or criticism. Right? It ought to be way more compliments, building, encouraging, uplifting, inspiring words. And you got to find this in them. Like, you got to tell them, hey, great job on that, son. I'm really proud of you. I love, and be specific. I love how you did fill in the blank. Because whatever you tell them they're doing well, it will be repeated. There's this phrase that says, rewarded behavior gets repeated. And when you reward them through compliments and pats on the back and a little text message, and like, it lets them know that you're watching. And I'm not even afraid to know when my kids can hear us. I'm not ever afraid to tell my wife, man, did you see how Israel or see how Zion did that? That's amazing. I'm so proud of them. I want them to hear me how proud I am of them. I want them to know who I believe them to be and who I'm creating them to be. And look, you got to know as a parent, the way that you live, the rules in your home, and how you treat them is creating them to be a certain way. Yeah. I got to share one more here. Another thing you got to do is let your kids fail. Don't try to overprotect them and not let them get hurt. Look, my boys, like, sometimes they're going to go try for something. They'll cry because they didn't make it. I'm like, look, that's life, man. It's okay. I love that you even tried and you like man in the arena. I love that you dared greatly and you tried and you failed. Let's just get knocked down, get back up. Let's go. And we have these talks and I'm teaching them, and my boys have failed at a lot of things, but failure is really just learning, right? There's really no such thing as failure unless you quit and give up. So that's the podcast I wanted to shoot today, because my apple does not fall far from the tree. Our kids are watching and listening to us, and we have such a huge influence and impact on their lives and on their world. So go do something with this podcast today. Go take a look in the mirror, do an inventory, right? Do an audit on how you are as a parent and what you think about your children. I think my boys are pretty dang cool. They're pretty resilient. They're learning a lot. They're kids and they're growing, and they're going to be amazing young men and young adults with great like visions and dreams, because I'm always telling them about my dreams and visions and the things I want to create, and going after dreams and showing them what's possible about how we live. So do me a favor, go apply this in your life today. Go do one thing that can help you be a greater parent. Shoot me a message, let me know, screenshot me on social, tag someone, share this on. I appreciate you listening. Until next time, this is Setema, Gali, and I am out.
This is your daily revolution. Live in prosperity, we show you how to do it. There's no luck about it, we got the strategic blueprint. This is your daily revolution. You already know. And if you don't, then check my resume. Turning pressure into possibilities every day. We all can win and live our unique purpose. We change our mindsets and put the work in. This is your daily revolution. Daily revolution. Revolution. Your daily revolution podcast.